Welcome to Global Studies with Miss Pritchard. This video is for Global 2 students and it will cover the middle of the French Revolution, or the time period when it all spiraled out of control. All right, 1791. In June of 1791, the royal family tried to escape from France. They returned to Paris and they were imprisoned. The new constitution takes away all of the king's power, and France is ruled by an elected legislature. And this is the time period that we get our modern political spectrum. If you're watching the news, you will frequently hear them say that right-wing conservatives or the left, that is all based on this elected legislature. And the fact that the radicals, the ones who wanted dramatic changes in the government and full equality for everybody, sat on the left side. And the reactionaries, the people who wanted to keep the king an absolute monarchy, sat all the way over on the right. In between, you had the moderates who were right in the middle, caught between the left and the right. The liberals tended to want more democratic changes in government, and conservatives were on the right, and they wanted a few changes, but not a whole lot. And that is where we get our modern political spectrum. Make sure you draw this arrow and the labels in your notes. All right, 1792. France declared war on Austria. The revolutionaries were hoping to unite the nation against a common enemy. The royalists hoped that France would lose and Austria would rescue the royal family. Remember, Marie Antoinette is an Austrian princess, so they're really hopeful that her home country will come in and save them. The September massacres, that's when prisons were raided and thousands of political prisoners, mostly noblemen and clergy, are murdered. It is the start of mob rule. And this is also when you get the émigrés. This is French nobility that leaves France because they're afraid of being murdered. And the guillotine is introduced to give equal and humane punishment to all criminals. But the efficiency makes the French Revolution one of the bloodiest. Once you can chop off people's heads very quickly, you start to chop off a lot of heads. 1793. In January, Louis XVI is beheaded for treason. That is for trying to overthrow the revolution and aiding France's enemies. In July, the Reign of Terror begins when Maximilien Robespierre takes over the Committee of Public Safety. And in October, Marie Antoinette is also beheaded for treason. 1794, a year after Maximilien Robespierre takes power, his reign of terror ends with his own execution. And the Parisians begin to reject material wealth and revert to the simple styles of the ancient Roman Republic. Two political factions develop in the National Assembly: the radical Jacobins, who want equality and pure democracy, and the moderates, the Girondists, who are known as the Mountain, and they are the majority. European nations and the Americans are afraid that the revolution will spread. So many of them start to enact laws to protect themselves against that. 1795 to 1799, you have the Second Constitution. The Directory begins to rule France. And this is when Napoleon Bonaparte, a 26-year-old Corsican general in the French army, takes control of the army after defending the Directory from a mob in Paris. This is his rise to power. He will eventually become the Emperor of France.